Hey everyone, so we've been talking about Rock of Ages, and today we're going to be wrapping up that coverage. For those of you just joining us, Lex Luthor has discovered a rock of tremendous power. With it, he formed the Injustice Gang and attacked the Justice League. In response, half the Justice League has been stranded in a dark future where DARKSEID has taken over, while the other half are preparing to take down the Injustice Gang once and for all. Before we get into what happens next, be sure to subscribe to Comic Island and hit that notification bell if you haven't already for more awesome videos about comic books. Now let's get to it. In the future, Batman activates a portal to DARKSEID's lair, knowing the villain will mistake them for one of his henchmen. They strike quickly, using smoke designed to confuse the new gods. They find Metron, by now corrupted and under the sway of DARKSEID after the Philosopher's Stone was destroyed long ago. Batman tricks the new god into briefly turning human so he can knock the newly formed man out and dose him with a hypnotic. As the smoke clears, DARKSEID is barely held off by Wonder Woman, and with moments to spare, Batman uses the drugged Metron to send the Justice League survivors back in time. After they go, DARKSEID destroys Wonder Woman with an augmented device called the Grandmother Box. And Batman finds himself surrounded. The Caped Crusader tells DARKSEID to look up, just as his remaining friends are able to destroy DARKSEID's concentration camp on the moon. The mighty villain is impressed. Batman lost and is instantly turned to dust by the new god. But nevertheless, the heroes did manage to genuinely wound DARKSEID, and that is worthy of his respect. Unbeknownst to the villain, elsewhere, the final surviving new god of the world called New Genesis, a man named Orion, is ready to strike. Orion has prepared the ultimate weapon, a device that will convert this entire universe into energy, and remake it into one without his father. And all die for DARKSEID. 15 years in the past, the Justice League makes a remarkable coordinated strike against the Injustice Gang. The heroes hurl a massive rock at the Injustice Gang's satellite, while Plastic Man had snuck onto the satellite disguised as the Joker. With Mirror Master's help, they are able to disable the structure's weapons and teleporters. Meanwhile, Aztec is able to remove all the nukes Luthor had teleported onto the Watchtower with his own technology, the very technology Lex Luthor had secretly paid for. The other heroes move in, and though they are nearly overwhelmed by the Injustice Gang member Dr. Light, whose abilities prove devastating against a blue energy Superman, they manage to capture the villains and teleport everyone to the Watchtower before the entire satellite is destroyed. Though Superman thinks he has the Rock of Ages, it turns out the Joker had swapped it out for a decoy, and the Clown Prince of Crime begins to use this artifact to wreak havoc on Earth. In response, the Martian Manhunter telepathically reorganizes the Joker's brain so that the villain suddenly finds himself completely sane. The Joker, all at once remorseful and saddened by his actions over the years, feels absolutely terrible and undoes all the havoc he wreaked with the rock. Luthor says if the Joker really wants to make amends, he can start by saving all the people they killed in Star City. The Joker succeeds in restoring the city before the Martian Manhunter starts to lose control over the villain's mind. Before he returns to normal, Wally arrives and takes the Rock of Ages from the clown in the blink of an eye. The arriving heroes explain that the Rock of Ages can't be destroyed, and they give the details of the dark future that would occur if it was destroyed, so instead the team agrees to give it to Metron. The new god warns the Justice League that a greater threat is coming, worse than DARKSEID, and they should prepare for the Earth to be fortified. Luthor congratulates Superman on his victory and goes to shake his hand, only to reveal he is yet another hologram, with the real Luthor having escaped to Earth. Just the same with the Injustice Gang having effectively undone all the horrible things they did in the first place, Superman agrees to let them all go this time. Clark goes to visit Luthor on Earth, who is brooding in his company's headquarters. Superman expresses his gratitude and admiration for Luthor having the idea to save Star City when the Joker had the Rock of Ages. That was a brilliant move that truly impressed the Man of Steel. Luthor is dismissive of the whole thing, and Superman mentions that Batman does believe Lex did all of this to avoid the murder charges, but Clark isn't so convinced. Before he leaves, Superman states that he believes deep down there is a good person hiding somewhere in Lex Luthor. Back at the Watchtower, Connor and Aztec are left reeling from this adventure and both want to quit the team. Kyle is shocked at this, feeling they should all be celebrating a job well done. While they discuss this, the senior members of the team quietly gather for a meeting. Metron takes the Rock of Ages past Darkseid, who is now still imprisoned in the Source Wall. The new god meets with Our Man and tasks this being with restoring the Source Wall after the next breach, which is indeed coming. Back in the present, Superman announces to the younger members that the leadership of the Justice League has decided unanimously that given recent events and their desire to spend more time on Earth, the Justice League is officially disbanding. And there you have it, what in my opinion is one of the greatest Justice League stories ever told. Rock of Ages is a strange beast, featuring an unusual Justice League roster, and in typical Grant Morrison fashion, about 10 awesome ideas for a story crammed into one epic, larger story. In this case, it all works for me. Though elements of the story are set up for later, a lot of this stuff is just a series of great ideas that all have a lot of room for future expansion in general, beyond what was ultimately explored in this JLA series. Rock of Ages is just a perfect blend of everything great I look for in a Justice League story. We get a ton of cool character moments, a lot of really interesting settings, and a fun series of enemies including the Injustice Gang, the JLA Revenge Squad, and even Darkseid. Even Wonder Woman, who is dead, gets to play a great role in all of this. Like a lot of Grant Morrison's writing, there's a great deal of clever hiding just under the surface of this comic, and I definitely recommend you check it out for yourself, because once again, we're covering a Grant Morrison story and only really have enough time to scratch the surface of some of his great ideas being thrown around here. This was all actually part of my random reviews for the Joker. Yeah, I'm still doing that. It's something I had started last year, but kind of let fall to the wayside in favor of some more time-sensitive material. But one of the Rock of Ages comics was actually randomly chosen out of all the comics Joker had been in, out of the 10 that were randomly selected for that miniseries. So I decided to use it as a bit of an excuse to cover the entire Rock of Ages storyline, since I figured that would be for the best, but yeah, we got some other great Joker comics coming up, so stay tuned for that. Thanks again for watching, and keep reading comics.